pause for a second and think of the fact that this surah is known as Surah Al-Hujurat, the rooms. Why Al-Hujurat? And then the image came to me. It is as if the world, the entire world, consists of private apartments. Apartments guarded by privacy. Allah tells us, when it comes to the Muslim Ummah, especially the social ethics of the Muslim Ummah, yes, there are private apartments in the Muslim Ummah. Don't spy, don't backbite, don't call each other names, don't fight with one another. But the entire world is a world of private apartments, Hujurat. And the point, what Allah is telling us about these Hujurat, is come to know one another. So the entire surah, in the same way that we saw in the Quran, Allah asking us, what is your ceiling? What is your house? What is your ceiling? Here, Allah is saying, this entire world are these private compartments, each people within their privacy. But the true challenge is, while honoring this privacy, عدم التجسس وعدم الغيبة and عدم, but to come to know one another. I think that is well ahead of its time. That is just centuries and centuries ahead of its time. So ahead of its time that even those who went around talking about abrogation just couldn't, because the world they lived in was a world of conflict and hostility and animosity, and that's the presumption between nations. They couldn't conceive of Allah coming and saying, although we see that they realize part of the message, because part of the message is that they say, at least as far, although it says Ya ayyuhan nas, they say, well, at least among Muslims there should be no racism, there should be no classism, there should be no privilege. But it says Ya ayyuhan nas. It goes well beyond the Muslim space to the entire global space. The fact that the paradigm presented is a paradigm of Hujurat, then in the challenge is that each Hujra has a particularity and a uniqueness. And the people within the Hujra, they are themselves willing to share with you certain things and not willing to share with you certain things. You are not inviting yourself into their room, but you are coming with all your uniqueness and particularity, and you're coming over the common things that you are willing to share with one another. But the real challenge is, as we talked about last halaqa, that the tendency is that we project ourselves onto others, that we don't really come to the other to listen to what they have to say or what they have to share, but we simply whatever the embodiment of our needs and our desires, we project onto the other, and then we are disappointed when the other doesn't fulfill these projections. So on the one level, it is coming with a type of attentiveness and care that that you want to know the other for all their uniqueness and all their richness, their diversity. But on the other hand, that Surah Al-Hujurat is warning us that if we attempt to get beyond with the other self-representation and want to pierce and basically say to the other, well, the way that you are representing yourself, we are not willing to accept that because we think we're going to pierce the veil and we're going to say that you are concealing this and concealing that. The corrupting effect of this is evident. I mean, it's very interesting because we witness this. If you want to see it in the most graphic way, we witness this with Islamophobia, right? It's like people approach Muslims, and regardless of what Muslims say about themselves, they say, "No, we don't believe you. You are hiding this. You're concealing this. And that's not conducive to any type of ta'aruf. It's not conducive to ta'aruf when people do it to us, and it's not conducive to ta'aruf when we do it to other people. But the remarkable thing is that Surah Al-Hujurat, challenges us to think in terms of process. So if we are going to talk about the ethics of process, the ethics of procedure, what type of ethics do we need to try to maximize communication and sensitivity, but at the same time respect each other's boundaries and respect each other's borders, the privacy, the parameters that I don't want the other to transgress. It's the charge by Surah Al-Hujurat is to think deeply and systematically about issues that Allah calls upon us to achieve.